there. My name is Glenda. Well, I am really, really, really excited about today's show. I have Jesse and Lisa with Lazy Days Ahead with me today, and we're just going to sit down and talk about all things with their channel and what they're up to. But before I get started, I want to let you know that we are in the chat, so please say hello and let's talk to each other. So anyhow, without further ado, I'm going to bring Jesse and Lisa up. Hey!
Hello, hello, Glenda. How you doing? Hello, everybody in the chat.
Yes, hi, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
We're living the dream.
Living the dream. That's
don't wake us up. Please don't wake us up.
It's lazy days ahead, right? So
exactly.
You totally got to put your feet up and rest and
yeah, hardly ever.
I know. I feel like I'm always on the go myself. Are you guys in that mode right now with the holidays kicking off?
Yeah. Well, even before the holidays, I mean, we retired, but we seem like we're busier now than we were when I was working. I don't know how I had found time to work.
Yeah, I know. I get that one. I feel the same way too. I'm constantly running around. Sometimes I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing? What's my name?
Right. And you have a disadvantage because you're the caregiver, so it's a little bit more work on you than it is on us. So yeah, I can totally understand your situation.
Yeah, but we do get to do fun things too. So I like to take him up to a local U-Pick farm during the summertime, and so we get out and do fun things too. So it's not always that run the road to the VA.
The rut. Yeah, the rut, normal rut. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyhow, but I want to know a little bit more about when you started your channel. So could you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, our channel is called Lazy Days Ahead for a reason. Obviously, when we were thinking about a channel, I had already been on YouTube. I started my YouTube in 2014, and I started adding videos. I started adding videos just for posterity, right? I wanted to keep the videos on YouTube. Never intended to do a channel. And
didn't know anything about YouTube, really.
No, we didn't know nothing about YouTube or how it worked or whatever. And it wasn't until after the pandemic that we started looking at YouTube a little bit more. And then I started moderating. Believe it or not, I was moderating for a long time before I even started the channel. And then we had a bunch of people asking us to start a channel. And so, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, y'all are fixing to retire, right? Yeah. So, we thought, well, okay, let's call it Lazy Days Ahead, because that's what we were looking for, right? And then Creekside talked us into making, or whatever. She was pressuring us not talk. When you gonna do it? When you gonna do a channel?
Actually, we were the first moderators of their channel, or their channel was the first ones we moderated. Well, she put me a moderator, but I don't do much.
When she asked me to moderate, I'm thinking, is that going to hurt? What do I do? I didn't know nothing about moderating. So I looked it up and I researched, did everything. And then I told them, okay, I'll try it. And the rest is history,
and they're the ones that pushed us. Well, you guys need to make a channel. So it's Joni and Tony's fault.
Wow.
And then I'm not saying we're successful because we're just getting started, but any success we do have, it's because of the folks that pushed us into making a channel and those that allowed me to moderate. So my name was already out there. They knew who I was. When I say my name, our name, Lazy Days Ahead, was already out there through my moderating. So when we started the channel, it was easy to, get folks to come visit, and they, and a lot of them stayed. So.
Wow. I didn't know you guys have been on YouTube since 2014. That's
when I started the account. Yeah.
Right. That's what I started at the beginning.
We started our actual YouTube channel was at June of 21 or 20. I'm saying.
21 because
June of 21.
Just over a year.
Yeah, June of 21.
Wow.
But the first couple of videos we had, or that he put on there, was of Sophia, who was our up in Oregon. She's the daughter of our adopted niece, I guess, one of our adopted niece. So when Sophia was little, she was born with brittle bone disease.
Oh.
So the technical name is osteogenesis imperfecta. So her mom was a new time mom. She was young, didn't really know much about it. And my mom was, both my parents were nurses. And so my mom, this was like the nurses that my mom worked with and knew Candace got them together. So it was like they needed each other because my dad had passed away the year before. And so it kind of
it helped her mom.
Yeah, it helped my mom and it helped Candace too, and then, you know, us too, because we just love her. Sophia's
she's gonna be
in the fourth grade now, and she's you know, still teeny tiny, but she is a ham. But anyway, the first couple videos were of her when she was little, and they're just so cute.
I tell you, those precious memories, you know, and to be able to look back onto them and then to have that connection. I love that. And it sounds like she's a little powerhouse.
Yes.
So I love that little spirit, you know, to have something it can be frustrating, you know, and a lot of medical on there, but it sounds like she's just kind of that go get 'em kind of.
Oh yeah, she does not give up. She's a fighter. She's probably had 150 surgeries. But
well,
you know, I'm exaggerating
too.
There's my alarm. Sorry.
Hey, I am a dog person, and at some point, y'all might hear a dog open a door and come in and demand some attention because he knows how to open doors.
So put this way, nobody can sneak up on us.
That's it.
He lets us know.
That's how my house is too. So I'm a dog person. So all good. Right. Wow. Well, that is a really neat way of starting the channel. And then I saw a video where it's called "We Bought Our Retirement RV Home on Wheels," and you posted it 9 months ago. And I was checking out your RV going, that's so cool. So do you travel around and
so we bought it last Christmas, actually, right before last Christmas,
a year ago,
and we took it to Oregon and back, and it was awesome. We had a great time. Went to a lot of different RV places and KOAs, and you know, wherever we could stay. And so we've taken it a couple of times here in Texas, just around here. But the thing is with the diesel prices as high as they've been, you know, it may be $4.50 around. Let's say average $4.50 here in Texas, but if you go up north, it's even higher than that. It's like $5 or $6, even $7 a gallon for diesel. So we have it parked right now.
Okay. Well, hopefully that changes so you can get on the road and go do some traveling soon. You know, because that's the whole point.
I agree. Yeah.
You know,
who's been bugging me? Let's go. Let's just take it. Let's take it.
It's just overnight or 2 nights. You know, we can even go during the week.
Well, you know, think about the cost of hotels. So either you pay for a hotel or you pay for the gas in your vehicle. You know.
Right. Yeah, but people think it's just get in it and put gas and go, or put diesel and go.
Yeah,
but we got to take you got to prepare for your food, all the medicine, everything you do here. You have to think about that in an RV.
Right.
So there's additional costs there as well. So it's not just fill it up with diesel and go.
Sure.
You know? Oh, and then everywhere you stay, you have to pay, you know, $40, $50, $60.
Oh, I forget about that. You're right. Yeah.
And then if they don't have a free dump, you got to pay for dump somewhere, you know, so I mean, I'm not going to say
it can add up.
It can add up. I'm not saying it's you know, really expensive, because it's really not.
But it sure is fun.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yes. It looks like so much fun. Well, hopefully you get back on the road again soon, and when the price is down, of course. But yeah, because I'll tell you, I've always wanted to go RVing. My husband and I talked about it when we were much younger, how it would be fun to purchase an RV one day and get on the road. So it just looks like fun. So and to be able to see, you know, like different parts of the country and whatnot. So yeah, for sure. And then I saw another video that literally like got my heart going, and it was America's Finest Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, that was one of my earlier ones. Yeah,
that was the first one that he took at the air show here in Houston.
We're about 2 minutes away from the air show. I mean, from the Ellington Air Force Base.
Oh my gosh, my heart listening to those Thunderbirds. I'm an Air Force spouse. Well, he was former Air Force.
Correct.
And the Thunderbirds are based out of Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. And so we never were stationed there, but I got to go back a few years ago with Wounded Warriors. And while I was on the golf course, I looked up and there they were flying. And I went, oh. So I caught your video and I went, oh, it filled my heart.
Yeah, that was one of my earlier videos, and I was doing all the editing on my phone at the time before I got my laptop.
Really?
And yeah, and the thing I remember about that video was the transitions. I loved my little transitions because it was the planes, you know.
Yeah, it kind of matched that the F-16s. So yeah, it was so cute, but it was a cartoon version of it.
Right.
I thought that was so cute. So I wanted to make sure I told you I like that one. I caught it and I went, oh. Of course, I love jets flying over. I love when they rattle my windows, and I'm crazy like that.
Right, but didn't you say your parents were in the military?
So, Army, yes.
Army, because I'm Army too as well. But so you're an Army. You moved around then.
I did for a little while. So my parents were married for a while, but they divorced. So while I was about half of my childhood, we went around, and so like I lived in Hawaii, and I got to live in Texas.
Wow.
Yes, I have a Texas connection.
There you go.
And I got to live at Fort Devens, Massachusetts twice.
Wow.
But they're no longer the base or the post that they used to be. It's now, I believe it's a reserve base, but I'm not 100% certain. And that's where actually I met my husband, was at Fort Devens.
Massachusetts. Okay.
Yeah. So our families lived next door to each other. And I saw this little cute blonde hair, blue-eyed boy, and I wanted to be his friend. And I asked my mom what I should do. And she said, well, go ask if you could be his friend. And so I went out and I said, would you like to be friends? And he said, yes. And then our families became like the best of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you remember the old not walkie-talkies, but like intercoms.
Okay.
So they had the wires through it. So our parents drilled a hole under the stairs in our post housing and put that wire right through. And we'd sit in our closet and talk to each other on those little speaker phones.
Oh, no.
Funny.
So we did some traveling as kids. And of course, my husband got to go to Germany a couple times, and Texas again, so an extra time on that. But as a couple, we did the Air Force route, and we went Japan, Idaho, England, and Arizona. Yeah.
So he was at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio?
For basic, yes.
Okay,
he went to basic at Lackland. Yeah. I never got to go down. We were engaged at that point, but I was working for a car dealership. And so I couldn't get off work for his basic graduation. But when he got to tech school, that's when I got to go down and see him. And he was at Shepherd Air Force Base by that point. Yeah, in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Yeah, I was Army, but ironically, I was stationed on the Air Force Base in Germany.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And that's where I met Lisa.
So now, did you go just to Germany, or did you travel around, or?
Well, I was at Fort Knox, Kentucky for a while. Then I went to Fort Hood for a while, and then I went to Germany, Spangdahlem, or it's near Bitburg in Trier, Germany. But no, that's the only places I went. But I was in the basic and AIT at the same time they were filming the movie Stripes. There on the base at Fort Knox.
I think that is so cool. And I go to Fort Knox every so often. So
yeah, that's where you keep all your money, I believe.
Yeah, it's where all my money goes. Yeah, it's all down there, and you drive past it going into
you go visit. You go visit and you dust off the gold. I know.
I I might shake a little gourd at them.
There you go.
But it's yeah, it used to be a really big basic training.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's where I went to basic and AIT. So
I think that's where my father-in-law went. Was
okay,
well, I mean, well, of course, and my dad too. But
yeah,
yeah, I think he did his AI. My father-in-law did his AIT there as
yeah.
well.
And
Yeah.
for those in the chat, that's advanced individual training for military.
Yeah, yeah. My father-in-law was a chef. He worked at the mess
Okay.
hall. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I trained as a track mechanic, track vehicle mechanic, and that was a 63 Charlie for those in the Army or those who were in the military know 63 Charlie. So once I went from there to my first duty station, I went to a helicopter battalion.
Oh,
They didn't have no tracks there, so they put me in, if you will, the S1, which was mainly like HR, so it's personnel. So then I started working as a 71 Lima.
The mailman.
all good. All good. It's the security system going off.
So they worked me as a basically as an HR person. So I got my 71 Lima, and then I went to Germany from Fort Hood.
Mhm.
And then they saw that I was a track vehicle mechanic, and they reclassified me to 63 Bravo, which is a wheel vehicle generator mechanic, right?
Wow.
And since I had that, if you will, I had that title. I was over in Germany. They let me work not only in the office there, but I also was the colonel's driver, so the battalion colonel. I was his duty driver, so I drove all over Germany, helping him out, go to different meetings and so forth. So he had to have a mechanic, even though I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, no.
I had the title. No, I know a little bit. I knew a little bit, but you know what I mean.
I do actually. My husband worked in the operating room. He was a surgical technician. Just because you're in the Air Force doesn't mean you're a pilot. There's other jobs.
That's
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
Everybody and their brother asked if he was a pilot. I'm like, no, he wasn't a pilot. He was surgical technician. But so when we moved from one base to another, we went from a big hospital to a small one, and he had, because he was surgical technician, he was thrust into a job where he hadn't had that specialized training. So he started working in orthopedics, and so he was like a general surgical tech going into a specialty, and it was just because he had the title, you know.
Exactly.
So I mean, yeah, but it was a good ride, I think, being a military spouse until right towards the end, of course. But I enjoyed traveling. I don't know if you enjoyed that part of it, but
Oh yeah, I mean, and in the military, especially in Germany, you could travel all over Europe, and you don't
oh,
even need a car because they have a great rail system over there, and you can, $25 and go to Paris, or $15 go to Luxembourg. You know what I'm saying? It was real cheap for the military to travel around Europe. In fact, we went to Italy, we went to Paris, France. We did. We went with four guys in a little, it was like a smart car. You know what a smart car is, right?
oh yes, oh yeah.
Okay. It was no bigger than a smart car, and it was four of us, and we were all 5'10", 6 foot, and we were
Oh
crunched up
my
in this little car. And it was, it was amazing the way how we made it there. But it's just, you would not believe the beauty in Paris. I just could not believe the architecture, the building. They don't tear nothing down. Everything lasts for centuries, right?
Yeah, it's built
And
beautifully.
yeah, so we had a great time over there. And Lisa didn't get to go because I don't even think I
That
knew
was before me.
before I
Yeah.
met her.
For you.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did the same thing. We would get in the car and go somewhere. We were in England, and my sister actually came over and stayed with us for several months. And we would just fill the car up with gas, and I would pack lunches for my kids, and we would get our map, and she and I would go get lost in England. Had no idea where we were going, didn't know
Right.
what we were up to, but we got to see all kinds of fun things. We went to a castle, her and I, and then we went to Stonehenge and Salisbury. We went all over. I put her on a tour a Jack the Ripper tour. And she said the highlight of it, she said it was a pub crawl. She said she didn't enjoy going to it because it's just going to all these pubs. This is where Jack the Ripper was, and this is what he did, and you saw
Right.
pictures. And she said it was a pub crawl. She
Right.
said on the way back, she saw Asda, and it's Walmart in England.
Right.
And so on the bus, she started chanting Asda, Asda. She got the whole bus going, Asda, Asda. She said that was the highlight of it.
And I'm assuming everybody on the bus knew what Asda was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, because it's like Walmart, you know,
Yes.
we get excited when we see something that's like home. And so there's my sister, Asda, Asda, Asda. I'm like, am I going to put you on any more trips or what?
Hey, it worked probably though, right?
It did.
There
It
you
did.
go.
Well, they didn't stop. She got home, but she
Yeah.
said that was the highlight of it.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, so we still laugh about that that time that she went. So
Right.
yeah, yeah. And then in Japan, we went all over too. We just took the train system and we went and got lost. I actually my oldest was a model over there, and so I would be traveling around for all these different modeling jobs that she did, and I'd
Wow.
get lost trying to figure out how to get home. And people were always so kind, and I always knew to look for a shake and 3 French fries because in Japanese that meant tachikawa, and that was my train to get home. So
Oh.
always look for a
Three
train
fries.
and 3 fries on the sign.
Wow.
It's the little things, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how can you get lost in Japan? If you look on the map, it's only about as big as my finger.
Well, but it's also the world's largest city, and
That's true.
there's several train stops. And we'd have to go like all over, not just down into Tokyo, but we went like all over, her and
Right.
I. And being a mama with just your little one, and you stood out too,
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're probably about a foot taller than most everybody there, right? If not a lot
Yes,
more.
quite a bit,
Yeah.
and the hair color too.
Yeah. So back then you were probably I don't know, strawberry blonde?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our daughter, she was blonde, and so they always wanted to rub her head for good luck.
Oh no.
Like, I can't go nowhere. I just
Oh no. Can I do
start rubbing her head for good luck.
I know it's funny because the texture's the same as
Yeah.
other color hair. It's just
You just won't get through very well.
Yeah.
Without getting your head. Can I rub your head? But we loved everything about Japan. I never felt scared getting on the trains or anything. It was a blast. It really was. So
I hear it's a very clean city too. I mean, it's not, or most of the cities there are very clean. It's a very nice place to visit. I mean, I don't know because I've never been there, but
it is. It was very clean and it was safe. I never worried about it, being by myself, not once. Sometimes here in the US, like it's kind of like, I shouldn't walk down that,
yeah, yeah,
But not once did I ever feel that way over there.
right.
And the people were always so nice. If I got stuck, I knew a little bit of Japanese, skoshi, just to
Okay.
get by. And so that was wonderful. And then I also taught English in my home. So I got it was very hard because they'd want to know all the bad words. So I would have to tuck my daughter into bed. It's nap time. And then we had to sit down and talk some nice words.
Right.
To know what all the bad stuff was first. So, but then they were very kind to me too. They invited me in their homes, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So Lisa, now you went over to Germany to meet Jesse, didn't you?
Sure.
Oh, well, okay.
No.
Well, you went to visit your brother, right?
Yeah. I went to visit my brother.
You were kind of like my sister going overseas, like visiting people, right? Just to go. So he was stationed over there?
Yeah, she was right out of high school.
my
the year,
goodness.
yeah, that fall out of high school. But my brother was getting married, so my mom and dad and
Oh,
I went over for his wedding, and they left me behind, and I got to stay for 7 months.
I bet that was awful.
It was so
Somebody had to do
terrible.
it, right?
You're right.
No responsibility. Didn't have to go back to school. Didn't have
No
to go back to
bills.
work.
No, well, I didn't have bills anyway because
Yeah.
I was living at
No, and
home.
it was free meals because you just eat what's in the fridge, right? You
Right.
know?
In a way. But then, my brother was, of course, they were stationed at the Lackland Air Force Base. So I did get a couple of like babysitting jobs for a couple of the ladies that were on post.
Not Lackland, Springdalen.
I'm sorry, yeah, Spangdahlem Air
Spangdahlem.
Force Base. Sorry.
Mhm. That's okay. That's okay.
So anyway, yeah, I took a couple jobs, just something for me to do, and still, I think I got a whole bunch of recipes from her.
Oh,
Of course, it's all in
German.
kilograms and
Mhm.
grams, and so, but I don't know that I've ever made any of them, but I've written them down.
absolutely. I did the same when I lived in England, and I've got it all just tucked away. And one of these days, I want to pull it out and I've got a measuring scale because I know everything's done on the scale, and I'd like to play with some of those recipes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of recipes, hello, let's talk about your jams and jellies.
Okay.
Bad or good?
Okay. It's never bad.
Okay.
Hello?
Well, I don't know. I'm questionable. There's a
It's
couple
just-
that I've made that were questionable.
Yes.
What was questionable?
Because I'm the taste tester, and
Well-
I can
Okay,
vouch for that.
because the ones you sent me, I just kind of sat there and I devoured, and I just finished up the last one, and I was like, they were so good.
So a lot of my recipes I get off of Pinterest. They're not
Okay.
necessarily, out of the ball books and stuff like that. But one I did was lime. I did a lime jelly,
Okay.
and
Oh.
we got the limes. I cut them, squeezed them, got the juice and everything. But it tastes like a melted Jolly Rancher, lime Jolly Rancher candy.
If you're into Jolly Ranchers, it's good. But if you're not into Jolly Ranchers,
it's different. Yeah,
it was different. So lime
so
jelly.
I still have some left. I'm like, do I send them one or do I send them one?
If you like sweet and tart, the lime jelly.
I'm not sure what you would use on it. I don't know.
Maybe make cookies and then put like a little dollop on it. Maybe the sweetness will balance out. I don't know.
Yeah, or some kind of meringue pie or something. You can put a little dollop on top of a piece of pie or something. I don't know.
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, I didn't like it for toast. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Or like a bagel. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed the jams and jellies that I got from you guys, and I am so appreciative. We sat and we put them all on toast, and the watermelon one without the seeds. I mean, I felt so special.
That's right. We sent you the seedless.
I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
I felt so loved right then. No, seriously.
Well, we
I
understand.
really
We understand, and we know how clean you are. So we didn't want you to have spitting out seeds while you're eating your breakfast. And they go all over the house. And
I appreciate that because I'm sure one of my dogs would pick it up right behind me because they're the ones who actually keep the house clean.
There you go.
They're the quality control. But no, those were so good. Have you been canning for a while, or did you just start?
The first
pandemic.
Well, yeah, the first time I canned, I did some. This was like, when we got them from King's Orchard, which I don't know that there's
the blueberries.
It's changed names now. There's north of Houston. I did some blueberry jam, and I think it was like 30 years ago when I was first diagnosed as a diabetic. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try this. I'll do it sugar-free. Well, sugar-free stuff just doesn't taste the same as stuff with sugar. So, you can't win there. But anyway, I did that, and I did some salsa back then too. But I hadn't done anything since then. And I went to worked at the school district for the last 15 years. I retired from there in 2020.
Right before the
right
before everything shut down.
Yeah. So I got out of there at a good time.
Yep.
So no, not until we saw like the mailman's coming back.
All
He
good.
parked in front of our house, and he goes, "Toby, go outside."
All good. We are seriously. We have a dog
Dog
security system too. All good.
But yeah, so
Come here.
did you read this? Oh no. So anyway, I saw Leanne from Mennonite Farmhouse.
Oh
And
yes.
saw she was doing some chicken and meats and stuff. And so I just kind of like, oh, okay. Well, we went one day to the DAV and we found it seemed like the weekend after I had shown interest in wanting to pressure can, we saw that canner there. It was a 16-quart Miromatic from.
So we looked
Looked it up. Yeah,
we looked it up on
1974.
on eBay. It was like 1974, and it was selling on eBay used for like $250.
And we got it for like $40.
No, $34.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
It has, I started there and I've done
So the only thing I did to it to make sure it was okay was I bought a new seal. So you know they have
Yes.
those little black seals on them.
Yes.
I purchased a new seal just to make sure, but it had the bubbler or the hula shaker, whatever you want to call it.
Hula.
It's the round.
Yeah.
no, it's
It's
actually
the round one.
it's the round one that you just slide on top.
Yes.
Yeah. So it had that, and everything else was in excellent shape. You know, so couldn't pass it up.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, no. I've got the All-American canner, but I requested for that years ago, and I
Yeah.
have no idea what the prices are now. I know that they're astronomical, but
Oh,
even
they're-
whenever it was purchased for me, it was still expensive. And so to get something for $34, and all you have to do is change the gasket.
Yeah.
I didn't need to. It looked like it was okay, but I just didn't know. You know,
I'd still
if you didn't
redo.
know
it. Yeah,
how
'cause-
it could have been from the 70s. So that's why I
Yeah.
said, no, let's not risk it. When you're talking about pressure canning, you want to make sure things are right. So I
Yeah.
changed the seal out, and she worked, and it works
The
fine.
first time I used it, I got it the water heating up and I'm standing back
Oh yes.
because I'm like, okay, what's it gonna do? Is the top gonna blow off or what? So, but no,
No, if
it
you
doesn't do that. If it's locked and everything, it's not going anywhere.
right,
Yeah, I'll tell you. So when I was growing up, my family all used pressure cookers. It's not the same as a canner,
Right.
but the pressure cookers. And I have a great aunt that I heard a horror story about the pressure cooker. Okay.
you can
And
imagine.
so I had been water bath canning for years and years and years. And one day I just told my husband, I said, I want to get over my fear of pressure canning. And so he purchased me the All-American many, many, many years ago. And that sat on my shelf for over a year. I was too afraid to pull this thing out. And they're the Mac Daddies. I mean, because they've
Right.
got, there's no seal.
Yeah.
So my mother came home and said, let's go to this local U-Pick farm. Let's get some produce, because I didn't have everything in my garden at that point. But she wanted things like corn and green beans. And so she purchased it because she wanted to take it home. And the first time I pressure canned, I actually cried. Like I was
Aw.
horrible crying. I mean, scared of it. And now that's like my favorite canning.
Right.
Like, bring out the pressure canners.
You just follow the
Yeah.
process. It's the safest can be. It really is.
It
You know,
really is. It really is. And they've made them so they're not the same as the cookers, like
Right.
the
Right.
horror stories that I heard about growing up.
Right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of fail safes on them now, so you don't have to worry.
And this one here is, it's built sturdy, just like your American canner you got there. It's
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
heavy duty.
Well loved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He went with that. The only, I didn't get a Presto. I got the All-American because of my fear. And he's like, I just want you to know you can lock it. I went, well, thank you for thinking of me, because the Prestos are safe too. Now that I understand them a little bit better, they're equally as safe. But my husband was like, we're going to give you that extra so you feel like you're under, you got it in control. So, yeah. So you can your jams and jellies and salsas. What else do you do?
I've done chicken.
Okay. Oh, that's the
Hamburger.
best.
hamburger meat.
Oh, yes.
I did some potatoes, carrots,
Oh,
green
yeah.
beans, and all that we got from the vegetables we got from the farmers market.
Absolutely.
Of course, I only got one little bitty teeny tiny tomato off one of my plants this summer. It was just so hot.
Yeah.
Nothing grew.
Right.
And one little bell
But-
pepper was like 2 inches round.
But we
It
did
was
salsa
tiny.
because we could get the tomatoes from our farmers market, and we're talking one of them big crates.
It was like 25-pound box.
and for like 15 or
It
12,
was $10,
$10
yeah.
for a big old crate of
The
tomatoes. You
Roma
know?
tomatoes.
And
So I did my salsa. I did some tomato sauce.
Wow.
I tried ketchup, but it didn't. I think it was what happened was I not pureed it, but I put it through the cocina and I did it. It was too much juice. It wasn't enough pulp,
yeah, not
not enough of the meat in there, so it came out real runny. So I don't know. I have to. It's still in there and it's sealed and everything is waiting for me to think of something else to do with it. Maybe barbecue sauce or.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do, because I make ketchup as well. I make a bourbon ketchup. And so whenever my tomatoes are a little bit too runny, I dehydrate my skins of the
Oh, okay.
tomatoes. And then I go ahead and then put that back into that sauce.
Oh, okay.
It actually helps thicken it up. And
Well,
that might be something to think
did.
about.
That's what we did with
Okay.
all the skins and seeds.
Yeah, the skins and the
We
seeds.
dehydrated
I
them.
dehydrated them
And
and
we
ground
got
them down
powder.
into tomato powder.
Yeah, yeah. So when I do that with my ketchup, I actually put my skins back into it to help kind of absorb, because it does some tomatoes are just a little bit more juicier than others.
Right.
And that's what I personally do. It helps. It's all good. I'm telling you.
There's a guy coming down the street on a bike, and he can see out the window, so he's.
Yeah, he can
He
look
sees
out
all
the
the-
front window.
It's
But we
so
have a doggy door, so he can go out. the
But
doggy
here's
door.
the thing: if we weren't alive, he'd be sitting there sleeping for 4 hours.
Yeah,
That's because we're pre-recording it.
because we're talking and then, yeah.
Right.
We'll blame that. Yeah, I'll run with that.
My apologies.
No, please don't apologize. So my mail lady knows that our security system goes off, so she doesn't even bother ringing the doorbell when she needs to bring a package to the house. She just walks up,
Right.
and then we just open the door, and there's the greeting team, of my 2 dogs greeting her, and she's like, "I know not to ring the doorbell." I'm like, "Nope, you don't have to, because they'll do it for you."
Yeah.
All good, all good. Well, I really fell in love with the manicotti noodle November that you guys did. I seriously,
Mama Lisa, she's the one that did it all.
and she's German. I think I
Yeah.
laughed so
That was fun.
He's
hard.
a Zimmerman.
Oh,
Yeah, my maiden name is
You
Zimmerman.
can't get no more German than Zimmerman.
no, you can't. No, you can't. And I married a German, so we laughed over that. So I watched that video initially by myself on my phone, and I think I just sat and I just laughed. I couldn't hardly get through watching it, the cooking, because I just thought it was so hysterical. I mean, I was just paying attention to the fun of the video. And then I took it back and I said, "Okay, honey, I want you to check this out. I think I want to make this. It's for one of my daughter-in-laws." And he agreed with me. He said it was good, but he laughed too.
Now you probably put it on the big screen for him, didn't you?
I did.
no.
I did. We have a big TV, and our living room is really tiny, and this TV is massive, but that's so that way he could see it, and I have to do this. when
Yeah.
I'm watching it. I'm like, that is too big, but
Yeah.
you do what you got to do when they're legally blind, and
Yes.
Right.
yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, we had a blast making that one. We didn't want to just do a regular video, so let's do some kind of skit or something where kind of beef it up a little bit for the Noodle November and the Italian theme. I think of noodles and a pasta. I think of Italian. I don't think of anything else.
And then he thinks of the Godfather.
And then you think of the Godfather or the Modfather or whatever, right? So
Yes. I thought that
just-
was brilliant. I feel filmed mine ages ago, and it drops on the 25th, I believe. And I'm like, man, I should have like reached out to Jesse and Lisa to get some ideas for this. 'Cause that was so good.
We try to do to continue the accent and the black and white throughout the rest of it, but it was hard to, because you don't always talk that way. It's hard to keep it up, and then we start cracking up, and then it's like, okay,
Oh
no,
yeah,
wait a
when we
minute.
started cracking up, we had to start all over. Oh no, let's not do that. Let's just go. Let's just go to regular. We'll teach them or show them what we're gonna do, and then we'll do something at the end maybe. But
it looked so good.
oh, it was amazing.
It was.
It came out better.
Really
We didn't even think it was gonna come out that good, but it was amazing.
I have to tell you, I seriously wanted to try it. Like I wanted smell-o-vision or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it just, now I have a question about that. Could you, so I noticed that you had hamburger and you had sausage separately, correct?
Mhm.
And then you put the cheese in the middle. Could you mix the meats, or would
Yeah,
that have
you can do
changed the taste of
No,
it?
you could do because it's gonna blend anyway when you start
Yeah.
eating it. Yeah, you could have blended them, but
I don't see why you couldn't.
but we just did that
Okay.
to show that there was two different meats. One being the sausage meat,
Ah,
the sausage flavor, which is the sweet, and then the hamburger, which is the
Would
the
mix
regular
the Italian seasonings
we
with it?
put a
Yeah.
bunch of Italian seasonings to make it taste like Italian hamburger, as opposed
okay.
to
Or Italian
your
meatballs,
yeah, like
basically.
it was
Yeah.
actually the meatball recipe. We did a
Okay.
meatball
Okay.
recipe to make the ground beef taste like a meatball, but you couldn't. We didn't want to make a bunch of little tiny balls to stick in there. We just
Yeah.
no.
I wouldn't have either. I've been like, shove that thing in there.
Right.
Exactly.
But then I don't know if you noticed in the beginning of the video, we were trying to put the meat and the cheese and I'm thinking it's going to take forever for you to do it this way. Just put the cheese in the middle and then stuff both ends and you got it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
the
I noticed that. I
cheese-
noticed that because I'm like, I
Yeah.
you know what? There are a lot of people who do that, and I think that's, they'll go slow, but I'm just that kind of person. Shove it in.
Yeah.
That's me. Like it'll taste good, but I'll tell you that I love the fact that you didn't cook your noodles
No, we
too
didn't.
before.
No, we didn't.
That's actually how I cook my lasagna. I make it the day before, and I don't cook my noodles.
Yeah, you just put the strips on top and let them. Yeah, because
Okay.
they're going to bake anyway, and you're going to pour a ton of sauce and cheese on them. So that's going to bake.
It soaks it all up.
On this one though, with the big shells, I don't know a double layer would actually cook the top
Okay.
layer of noodles,
Right.
because it actually cooks in the sauce. Kind of like your lasagna, but you don't have that much sauce. I don't think there's enough sauce to cook.
Yeah, well, you
And I
probably
think it
could
would
have
be
added
too
more.
much.
Yeah, you probably could have added more, but I think it would have been more than an hour to cook it.
Yeah, I think it would be too much.
Mhm.
'Cause
Well, it seriously
Yeah.
looked amazing, and now I'm waiting for the next one that you're gonna drop in a
Oh no!
in a
Well, we got
collab.
two in December. One's the cookie one, and then the one's the candy, Christmas candy, Christmas cookie and Christmas candy. Two
Christmas
different
cookie,
ones.
Christmas candy, right?
I'm in the candy one, and then I'm in an indulgence one, and I'm filming those tomorrow because I gave up sugar and I said yes to the candy collab. So with Thanksgiving being this week, I'm taking it to the extended family and going, I made it. Here you go.
Well, you know what?
Enjoy.
Did we send you the low sugar jam?
Mm-mm.
If we'd have known you weren't
Yeah, if
eating
we'd
sugar,
known you gave up, I would have sent you
we would
low
have sent you a
sugar.
low sugar.
Oh, I just did it within a month ago.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I am working towards some healthier goals, and I have a trainer involved. So
Okay.
just for some health, everything's fine. I'm just making some good changes. So sugar was one of the things that I gave up. And I'm switching to monk fruit and stevia is what I'm switching to. Well, I have switched. So I had some sugar the other day, and that was not a good decision. So
Yeah, once you don't eat it for a while and you taste it, you take something and it's like, oh, okay, I really don't need it. So I didn't
Yeah.
miss it.
Yeah.
No, and it's in your head, I think too. Like, I need that sugar. I need that sugar. I want this. And then you taste it and it's like,
Somebody said that, that, there's cocaine, there's marijuana, there's barbiturates, there's antihistamines, there's all kind of drugs out there that are very addictive. But the most addictive thing in this country is sugar.
I without a doubt. Without a doubt. I agree with
More
that.
so than any drug out there.
Without a doubt. Because I was getting to a point where I was eating it all the time.
Right.
And I admit to that, and several months ago, I started back to the gym, and met with the trainer. I am doing bodybuilding. I can't do cardio, again, another medical reason, but I can do bodybuilding is what I'm released with. And so we were talking about the foods and trying to change things. And preserving foods and having control of my garden and things like that is already a start.
Mhm.
But I was addicted to sugar.
Well, I think everybody is.
And
They just don't know it or can't admit it because,
Because everything, I mean, everything you eat has carbs. Carbs turns to sugar.
and vice versa. People add sugar to everything.
Breads,
know.
Yeah.
Rice, potatoes. I mean, everything.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's in your mind. So you don't even think about it, but it's in almost everything except
It really is.
it's not in my Dr. Pepper. Zero.
It's not. No, because it looks like it. Oh, it is zero sugar. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say it's not in my water.
Zero sugar.
Zero sugar.
If
Zero
I drink
sugar.
a drink, I'll have probably one of these a day, but if I drink, it's going to be zero anything really.
Yeah.
The only bad part about these is that they have the artificial sugar sweeteners, right? And I don't think they use what'd you say, stevia?
Yeah, there's
No,
stevia.
probably
in this,
aspartame or.
But, I found well, it's a soda, but like just if I want one, and it's called Zevia, and you can get ginger ale, and you can get there's a cranberry one that's really good, but it's stevia instead of sugar. And so if I crave it, which I don't very often, I bought a little box, and I still have the original box, but if I crave it, then I'll get one of those. So I'm working on it. It's going to be a never-ending battle for me.
So is this Thanksgiving going to be difficult for you?
Yeah, I had a conversation with the trainer about that. Of course, this is going to air after Thanksgiving, so I'll tell you in the chat what happened.
Okay.
But so we were talking about that, and I told her, I said, really, I've also changed my plate size. So I've gone from a dinner plate down to I eat off of a dessert plate. Like my meals are now a dessert plate.
Portion size is a big thing.
It really is. It really is. And I told her, I said, this is going to be a challenge for Thanksgiving because, there's going to be so many good foods. My extended family is going to be there. And there are some really good chefs in my family. So it's going to be a challenge.
But if you fall off the wagon for that one day, I mean, it's nothing that's really going to kill you or anything, but
I might not feel good.
You may not feel good for the next 4 hours.
Yeah, the next day.
So I'm going to tell you in the chat how it went. So check the chat out.
Just remember to wear your Thanksgiving pants.
That's it. I do. Actually, I go comfy. I am in charge of the turkey, and I'll tell you how that turned out too. No, I'm a good turkey maker. I can bake a mean turkey. So are you guys having a big meal or?
So we're going to celebrate with my mom and dad tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Take them out for
lunch. We're going to take them out there's a place here in Houston called Claiborne's, and it's been here almost 100 years. It's an Italian family that created the restaurant, and it's one of the best. And they have it's almost like a cafeteria style where you go through the line, you pick what you want, right? And they have excellent food there. It's amazing. Mom and Dad love the place, so we're going to take them there for tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving Day we'll probably have some like ham or and then she obviously
just little stuff here.
Yeah, little stuff here. Likes to make stuff, so. We'll have a little bit here, but the turkey and dressing kind of dinner, we're going to have that on Wednesday. Yeah. And then on Friday, Black Friday, I always go play golf. So
Oh,
It's
how
yeah,
fun. How
If I get a day to myself at home, I
Yeah.
don't like to go out.
you don't.
No,
she's
especially not on that Friday.
not on Black
Mm.
Friday.
Yeah, I will be putting up my Christmas tree on Black Friday. I stay home and I get that
A lot of people
typically
do
up.
that.
Yeah, I might
Yeah, a lot of people do
do
that. They
that too.
decorate on Friday.
Get my
Yeah, that way it gives me something to
stuff
do
out.
and I'm not having to run around like out and about. But
Right.
and I,
Right.
Christmas I've been shopping all year long, so I'm not too concerned about those deals.
Well, and it's gotten a whole lot different. I remember that when we started going to play golf, 20 years ago, every Black Friday, it was the intent of that was we would get out of the house, go play golf, the little women can go shopping.
Right.
Well, now you can shop online,
Yeah.
and Black Friday starts probably tomorrow.
It does.
All the Black Friday deals are tonight or tomorrow. They're already, selling. You don't have to wait till Friday morning.
Oh, so you don't need to go play golf?
No, I still need to go play golf. But-
Don't golf for just
Right, you walked
Yeah.
into that one.
no,
over. It's in the past,
Yeah.
things have
No, it's
changed.
okay because then I get a day to myself because both him and our son will go play golf, and
Yeah.
they'll be gone 90% of the day till like 4 or 5
Trust me,
o'clock in the afternoon.
Trust me,
So-
she'll be on Amazon all day probably.
No, I'll probably
No.
maybe get some of the Christmas decorations up, and I like to sit down and read.
Yeah.
So I don't do that very often because usually it's late
Oh.
at night and I fall asleep.
Oh, that sounds so nice. Yeah, we hang at home. I used to I used to golf a little bit, but I'm not like a golfer. I am a professional digger.
Okay. Yeah. You're the one that makes all them
Divots.
divots in the golf course.
Oh, you didn't see that as I'm patting the grass back down. I'm
Right.
like putt on the golf course. That's like my thing. I like to
Dang.
say.
Yeah.
The last time I went golfing was at Nellis Air Force Base. I actually went golfing there, and I don't think I could get a ball in the hole at all. But I mean, I laughed so hard. I'm like, look, I'm making holes for the golf balls.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first started, I was playing that Army golf. Left, right, left. I couldn't keep it down the middle for nothing.
Oh my gosh. Well, my husband used to go golfing too all the time. That was something he enjoyed. And he still could. He could go to the driving range if he wanted. But
Right.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun. But on Black Friday, that's a neat tradition to have every
Yeah.
year, I think.
Well, a friend of mine, a guy that we met when we first moved here.
And both our boys
both our
played
boys-
baseball, and so we were involved in
So
baseball
when he
with
was
them.
about 8 or 9 years old, we met him, and he invited me to their family golf tournament,
Mm.
and I've been going ever since. So it's one of the deals, and sadly, he just passed away from the big C.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh.
2 years in
Yeah,
January.
2 years in January, he passed away from C.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
we still go on his, in his honor. But
Oh, yes.
yeah, so
Carry
we
on that
enjoy it.
tradition.
Yeah, we enjoy it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, I've got a question for you. Would you like to play a little game? There's no wrong answer. I've got my flower pot here with a bunch of questions.
As long as
Sure.
I can phone a friend.
Well, you both can answer the questions.
Is this an open book? Can I look at my?
It's open book. I mean, that's how we do it, Grace and Fire. Open
Okay.
book.
All right, here we go.
So I've got a stack here, and I did
Holy.
not take them all. There's still more in there. So I've got a question. Who inspires you?
Okay, so that's an open-ended question because you're talking about in general. Are you talking about on YouTube? Are you talking about in life? Are you talking about
However
on
you
the
want
golf
to
course?
answer it.
Well, for me, I think the people we've met on YouTube. You
Yeah.
know, you see all these people. You know, we're a substeader. We're not a homesteader. We don't have chickens or anything like that. But I started canning because of somebody on YouTube. I started gardening because of somebody on YouTube. I have a greenhouse. We have a video coming out later because of somebody on YouTube, because I wanted to try, because I didn't grow anything in the summer. I'm trying to grow
was just
something
too
this
hot.
wintertime. All the cool vegetables, peas, I've got some onions actually started growing.
Oh,
So
wow.
but they're in the greenhouse to protect them from the rain we've been getting the last few days, and it's cool now. But yeah, mine would be the people we've met and made friends with on YouTube. I think would be mine,
Mm.
because it's like I see somebody, it's like, ooh, I want to do that. What do you
There's
think about
so
this?
many really good thoughts out there too with different methods and things. I agree with that statement because I've met a lot of people. How about you, Jesse? Do you
Yeah,
agree or?
no, I agree. I agree. Because inspiration is you can get it from anywhere, right? But
Absolutely.
but the only way you can get inspired is if you get, if you will, involved. And we're involved in a lot of different people's channels, and we're inspired by giving, we're inspired by receiving, we're inspired by communicating, and we do a lot of that through relationships that we've created in YouTube. I mean, remember the days when you would sit in front of the tube after work and just the boob tube, the TV, and
Oh
just watch
yeah.
it? You're watching people that you'll never ever meet, probably never, because
Right.
they're, if you will, TV people, TV stars.
Yeah.
Well, with YouTube, you're still watching TV, but you're creating relationships. You're building relationships. You're building, communities. You're participating. You're anticipating. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of involvement. So, and that inspires us. One of the things it does for me or for us is it inspired us to give away. We like to give things. We love to, help people. We like. I mean, we didn't start this on purpose, but we
Uh-oh.
Oh,
something
it's
just
the
fell.
used sticker.
But the youth sticker. But see, but YouTube inspired us to do this. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw how well it was received, and people love it. I mean, and it's something that anybody who cooks or bakes, but you can be
Yes, you can.
inspired by.
Yeah, you can get them on Amazon and stuff like that, but it's not the same.
No.
It's not the same.
No, and I have to say, you guys are one of my people that I get inspired by too. I don't say that about a ton of people, but you guys are an inspiration to me too. I love the connection, and I love meeting people. And Jesse being the mod father, I actually started out as a moderator myself for my mother's channel, not under Grace and Fire, but under, some people might know me as DeGirly, because at that point, that's not, I didn't want to be on YouTube. So I just came out as a moderator, and I watched Jesse sit and moderate and help people. And I'm like, I want to be half of Jesse. And then I'm good. I mean, you know what I mean? Because
you're gonna be half of me, you're gonna be a big girl.
I am gonna be a big girl, but you know what? I in a grown up way.
Right.
But I tell you, I appreciate both of you guys so much. So I want you guys are one that inspires me as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So my next question is cake or pie? Speaking of sweets, from earlier.
Cake.
Ooh.
I like cake better than pies.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go pie.
Pie.
There ain't nothing
So
better
split
than
in the
good
middle.
coconut cream. I'm a coconut lover. I love coconut. So if I'm gonna have pie, it's gonna be coconut cream. If it's gonna be cake, it'll be a German chocolate. I love coconut.
So if I wasn't giving up the sugar, I'd be at your house because both of those are my favorites.
Right.
Well, I didn't make any, so.
Oh, okay.
But-
Well, then I would bring it.
But we live about 10 blocks away from the House of Pies.
Yeah.
So we can
I
go
know.
get it, and those pies are like this. They're about this tall. They're huge.
So when you bring them home, do you like take them out of the package and just set them out like you made it? No,
No, because down here with the humidity and stuff we have, it needs to go in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
keep it refrigerated.
I was gonna say I go to Costco and I'll buy a pumpkin pie and I take it out of the package and I just set it on the table. I'm like, I made it. I made it to Costco and back.
Oh.
I made it.
Yeah, okay. If you want to believe that, Glenda, we're gonna believe it with you.
That's what I'm going with.
And
there's
your
a quote
story and
out there that says, "I may never be wrong, but I'm always right."
Oh, come on now, man. And you got it right, wrong. It's I might not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
See, and the
You gotta
mod
point that.
father, no, got it that time.
You got to put the finger out. I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
That's it. That's it. Well, speaking of eating food, what's something you could eat for a week straight?
Tacos, soft shell tacos from my wife.
I
I
love a good soft
soft
shell
shell
taco.
tacos.
So good.
Right, Lisa? I could eat them for a week.
Yeah, he could.
And if it wasn't soft shell tacos, I'd probably say baby back ribs.
Ooh, that's my
Yeah,
husband's
so
favorite.
if they're fat free, sugar free, calorie free, and everything, probably I don't know, because I like a lot of different foods. I don't really have one specific.
Okay, anything like if all of that weren't a factor, what
Yeah,
would it be?
nothing was an issue. There was no issue. Mexican food, you
Yeah,
love
I
Mexican
love
food.
Mexican food, chips and salsa.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah.
I'm there with you. I love chips and salsa, and I like a little bit of my guacamole on top. Just a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
and you had Ginger on the other day, and she said something that I love. She likes, because my mom we grew up eating those too, but the scoops with the bean dip, we we eat ourselves a ton of that bean dip with Fritos. Oh my
Mm.
goodness! Oh, she was bringing back memories. So,
Well, I'll tell you that all of it's good. I love it
yeah.
all. Okay, so name one of the seven dwarfs.
Grumpy. It's me in the mornings because I mean I have a shirt with him on it, but
Well,
I'm not a morning person.
and I'm happy.
Grumpy and
I'm
happy. It evens itself out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm happy. I get up in the morning. I'm la di da do 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 do. I'm dancing around.
Don't talk to me.
I'm a
I'm
morning.
not awake yet.
I'm a morning person, and then Grumpy gets up over here and it's like, But
Yeah, my thing is don't talk to me till I get my first cup of coffee in, and then I'm okay. But I'm grumpy when I first get up. I'm like my brain
Well,
can't.
see, I
think.
don't even drink coffee. Not really.
yeah, she's not a
No.
coffee person. She'll drink hot tea or water, or
Yeah.
she loves her. What do you call this?
Peach mango crystal light.
She drinks peach mango.
Peach mango green tea, crystal light.
I bet that's good.
Well, and when my doctor told me, you need to drink more water, I said, well, can I drink this? Because I have a hard time just drinking plain water.
Yeah.
Will this count? Outside. So she says, yeah, as long as you get your water in. So
that's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. I don't like drinking water either, and so what I've done is I now have a Berkey, and I like it because it's room temperature. And then now it's tolerable for me. And then sometimes I'll put a little bit of mint in it, and I'll just muddle it at the bottom just to get that flavor. That's how I can get my water down, because I'm not a water person either. I don't like it cold. I'm like,
I love it. I love it ice cold.
Cold only if it's hot outside and I've been sweating or something. Yeah.
Well, if I'm burning up, yeah, ice. But like just in general, I'm like, I just don't know ice. I think I make restaurant people a little bit concerned when I say no ice, because they're, are you sure? I'm like, no ice. Well, speaking of drinks, but what's for dinner? We're gonna go to the food side. What's for dinner tonight?
Tacos.
Oh no, we got we bought some shrimp at Costco the other day.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna grill some shrimp.
We need to cook that. I told him we need to do that. So
shrimp on the Barbie.
I was getting ready to say shrimp on the Barbie, and they don't ever say that.
They don't ever say it, but we're gonna say it. We have a little teriyaki sauce on it, and a little whatever barbecue
maybe
sauce.
A little bit of rice on the side, or
That sounds so good. I don't know what we're doing just yet. I'll figure it out. Might be breakfast foods. That's what I think.
We've done that too plenty of times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll eat eggs all 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And I like cereal.
Me too. But right now my girls are freeloaders, so we're not getting very many.
Oh, I know.
It's like except for one girl is still laying. It's Coco, and I get my pink egg every day. So for right now.
Are they molting? Is that what it's called in the winter?
So they are molting, and then also the lack of sunlight. I could have put lights inside of their coop, but to run through the winter, and kept the girls getting enough. You just need a little bit of light, not a lot. And that would have helped keep the egg production up, but I choose not to. I want, each hen is born with a certain number of eggs that
Right.
they'll have in their entire life. And so my thing is, I don't want to burn my girls out. I want to give them a rest and let them take a break, let it be natural, the way God
Right.
intended them,
Correct.
And if you use lights in your coop, you guys that are watching this, I'm not judging. I don't mean it like that. It's just what I
Right.
do for my own girls.
Mhm.
So I let them take a break, but I do call them freeloaders in the wintertime because you still have to feed them.
Yeah.
And you still have to take them treats. They know when mama comes around and goes chick chick treats, they all come running in. So I'm not getting anything in return but laughs or and love from them.
Yeah,
And
they're loyal.
yeah, and I'm not too worried about it because my girls are also our pets. And so they're just going to live their life out, which is not the normal farm way. And I live in the suburbs. So I'm doing it. I'm doing it the city slicker way, as I like to
Yeah.
say.
So you don't intend to use them as meat birds then?
I don't intend to use them as
Right.
meat birds. Yeah,
Okay.
no, they're just my hens. I could do meat birds if I had land. I could actually, in my heart, I could do it, no
Well,
problem. But
no, what I was talking about is once your hen is ended its life, if you will,
mhm.
you're not going to turn around and cook it or eat it or whatever. Yeah.
No, and they bring us joy. We find value in our birds in different ways. One
They
of
keep the
our,
fleas down.
I'm sorry.
They keep the fleas down, the ticks down.
They do. They do. We have one though. Her name is Minnie, and she was our free bird from Meyer Hatchery,
Right.
and she is my husband's. We laugh because he has a real service dog, and so we don't take her out, but we call her the service chicken, just on site service chicken. Okay. But she runs to him and she wants to supervise him, and she's the funniest little hen. And I'm the one that would get up in the middle of the night and tuck her back up underneath her heat, but she took to my husband. And so about a year ago, she suffered a traumatic brain injury. And I laughed last year because I was a caregiver for 2 with traumatic brain injuries. So I actually took her to the vet to get her checked out and fixed. And I took a lot of heat from that. I can't believe how many people, why didn't you put her in the freezer camp? And I'm like, because we find value different. And so she made a full recovery. And yeah, she's a keeper. So
Wow.
That's
yeah.
neat.
And
Yeah.
chickens are a new thing. I've been homesteading for 10 years, well, 11 years now. But my girls will be 3 in March, excuse me. So
Okay.
they're the newer addition.
Right.
But okay, so do you ever post inspirational quotes on social media?
Well, he doesn't normally do well like Facebook. I have Facebook, which we started years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have in the past, but it's like somebody else has it and then I'll share it. But I really haven't in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and
Same.
I just typically go on and look and like or whatever, but I don't necessarily post.
yeah,
much.
and for me, it's the same way. I'll just share something like, let's say, Fallen Arkansas.
Shares a tribute or
Yeah,
something.
he does a tribute for 9/11 or for the military. I usually share those out that way, but I don't sit there and I'm not looking for it, trying to go put something together. Just not me. But I'll share something that's really nice,
And that's me. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
totally me. Because there's some
Okay.
really good, thoughtful quotes out there.
Correct.
And so, yeah, I think in sharing that positivity is a good thing. So, what was your last Halloween costume? Besides the Manicotti video with the Maud father.
I think we were Shrek and Fiona.
No.
I'm just playing. we
Mine
could have
been
went
like
Shrek
at school. Mine would have been
Oh.
from school where Jesse hadn't done one in years.
Santa is the only thing I can think
Mine
of.
was a like a hillbilly, so I have a cowboy hat, and my hair was longer, so I had a couple little short braids and put freckles on my face, and I had one of those teeth things that have like crooked teeth. They're
The
like,
hillbilly teeth.
this was for school, so it was real fun for the kids because they're all in their costumes and stuff, and so yeah, that was fun. But I think the last one we did was with Steve and Debbie, wasn't it?
I think so. That's probably the last.
Probably about 20
years ago.
20 years ago at least. Yeah. He was a knight, had the cape or whatever and the sword, and I was a barmaid.
Well, yeah. So that was our personal life. At work, though, we had we were doing negotiations between the company and the union, right? And that's part of the company. We had a day where we went in and we had it was a skit day. They wanted to call it because we're trying to make negotiations fun because we were just sitting in a hotel all day just talking, right?
Oh yeah.
So one day the four of us guys came in dressed as the village people. I was the construction worker.
Yes, which one were you?
I was the construction worker. Yeah. Yeah, well, we had the guy on the motor.
The YMCA with it too.
Yeah. We had the music. We were coming into the hotel. We had the music playing on a boombox, and we were all walking in. And we had the guy dressed as an Indian, the police officer, the naval guy, and the guy on with the leather. Yeah, Sydney. I mean, Randy was the guy with the leather chaps and all that, and then I was the construction guy with the pipe wrench and the hammer or whatever it is, and the hard hat. It was, so I can say that's the last thing I've ever dressed up as.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, but it made the day though.
I don't think I had any fun costumes. I wore a 50s poodle skirt, and that was the last one I wore.
Okay.
So I'm not very cool. I love the village people. That's
everybody at the hotel thought we were crazy, but
you were having crazy fun, is what
we were having crazy fun.
We're crazy. You were having crazy fun. That they got to get that together.
And all the folks in HR, all the rest of the ladies and stuff, they were loving it because they didn't expect it, right? So we treated them that day right.
Okay, so the next question is invisibility or super strength. Which would you rather have?
Probably invisibility.
Oh,
if you're invisible, you don't need any strength.
That's a good way of putting it. I
would choose super strength right now because the older we're getting, the weaker we're getting. Yeah. Of course, then you get arthritis, and it's you don't have the strength you have that you used to.
I agree with.
So as of right now, I would shoot for super strength.
Okay. And what is your favorite day of the week?
Every day Saturday for us.
Yeah, every day
Saturday for us.
That's our saying.
That's good. I like that. I like that. So, paper or plastic?
Plastic, because that pays my retirement.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I'd say plastic too. Yeah.
And then my last one for you is, do you believe in fate?
I do. I do believe in fate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Well, do you have any questions for me?
Well, you've already answered this probably 100 times, the Grace and Fire question about how you started your channel and how you got the name and stuff. But what really inspired you to want to do a channel? Because, you have enough responsibilities as it is. YouTube, to me, YouTube is another job. Mm-hmm. So whether you're doing it, every single day or once a week, when we're putting videos out every single day, once a week, twice a week, or once a month, it's still a job. If you're doing editing and, you're creating videos. So why would somebody with as much responsibility that you have want to start a channel?
I think that's a great question. I like that one. So my mother and aunt have a channel, and they're not homesteaders. They just interviewed people, had a good time, and they were two sisters having fun on YouTube. That's how that they started it, right? And they did silly little things. Well, my mom kept telling me, you need a project, and why don't you think about sharing what you do, because you're a gardener and now you're getting chickens, and you really have a lot to share. And I kept going, no, 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 because I'm kind of boring, right? Um,
That's what we
Yeah, I
say.
know.
That's what we say. We're
Why
boring.
why
You're
do people
boring.
follow
I
that?
mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, I just, you know, I I live the grind. I come home and I'm just, you
Mhm.
know, um, and so I was talking to Sherry at Black's Tropical, and she's like, really, you ought to be thinking about this because you really do. She said, you've got your garden, you've got your chickens, you've got some really good tips. And I took time to think about it. And it came at a time where, and I have never told anybody this, um, you forget who you are as a caregiver. Your identity is changed. And at my age, I thought I would be a CEO or COO of some major corporation. I'm very business minded, and I was on track to get my degree in the business field. And so it put a halt on things, and you tend to lose who you are, right? And so there was an opportunity to work with a nonprofit, a pretty big one, on goal setting and to find things that bring you joy in life. So I took time to really think about what Sherry was saying, and did this goal setting as well for about six weeks. Yeah, it was 6 weeks. And I really thought, well, this would be something fun just for me to kind of separate me from my responsibilities, give me something to look forward to in life, because we still have hobbies and we still have things that we like to do. We're not just caregiver, we're not just spouse, and really, I started the channel not knowing what direction I was going to go in with it, but I'm not very consistent with lives. If you've not figured that out, I'm horrible with lives because my life does revolve around my husband. But this really just gives me an outlet to connect with other people. It can be lonely, this life, so it's nice to be able to meet other people. And that inspiration piece, what we were talking about earlier, I genuinely mean that you guys, and then there's a few other channels. I sit back and I go, you guys are an inspiration to me, and you're what keeps me going too every day. So, yeah, it is a lot of work. And I can't keep up with some of the things like with the lives. That's where I struggle at, is a consistent life. But you know what? It is what it is. And I hope one day that my grandkids will look back on it and say, you know what? Grandma wasn't just a caregiver. She wasn't just grandma. She had fun.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
could see that,
Well, that was
So,
a good answer. That was a good answer. You passed.
yeah. I
Now,
passed for
yeah.
today.
Now I got one more question. Now, and then there's
Okay.
probably people in the chat are going to be asking the same thing. So you've
Okay. Go
started your
ahead.
channel, right? And you've put out some video, or you put out a few things, right? You're very knowledgeable, by the way. I want to mention that what turned me on to you was way back in the days when you were talking about canning, and you were with Tony Kettle, and I was just enamored with how much knowledge you knew about the canning world, right? And so where was I going with that? Anyway, the YouTube has communities. There's a garden community, there's a fishing community, there's a homesteading community, there's hunting communities. Is there a community in YouTube for caregivers? There's not a community for caregivers. See, that's sad. I mean, because there's probably a lot of caregivers out there that need an outlet like this, so that they can communicate with others, get ideas,
Yeah.
or
Or
what
just
do you
vent or talk
to
to
vent
her,
or talk,
cry
or even
Well, it's just not on YouTube. So there is Facebook groups and things that are private, and they're locked down and they're vetted. So some stranger can't just come in and go, I'm a caregiver. Like you know what I mean?
correct,
It's a vetting
correct.
process. So there is that. But in the sense of YouTube, no, I have never run into it. And that's part of the reason why with my channel, I want to make sure that if I'm running into caregivers, I want them to feel comfortable coming and saying, hey, I need help. I'm not alone. But what I also am finding in my own personal groups outside of YouTube is that there is a rise in gardening and there's a rise in farming with the caregivers. Now, I'm not talking about our veterans. I'm talking about with the caregivers, and they're not just spouses.
Correct.
You know, spouses are only about a third of the population. So it's parents, grandparents, friends, neighbors, kids, you know, brothers, sisters, that kind of thing. But what I'm finding in my groups is that a lot of people are turning to that homesteading life. And it's exciting to see that rise up and that need for connection. When I interviewed Georgette, the Elizabeth Dole Fellow, the first interview that I had done, that came out of a group conversation of, you know, hey, I'm a chicken keeper, or, you know, look at my beautiful garden, or anybody a farmer, you know. And so then it was just, hey, would you like to sit down and do an interview with me, you know? And so I was really excited to bring her on, but she doesn't have a channel. She is an Elizabeth Dole Fellow, and she gardens and she supports the YouTube world too. So yeah.
And one last question. This is this YouTube thing is it's a pretty big deal, and you have to kind of know where to separate your YouTube life from your private life, because obviously you don't want to put everything in your private life on YouTube, right? And you shouldn't. But one of the questions that's probably in the chat as well that's going to ask this is, do you ever plan on putting more of your husband in your videos? And the reason I say that's because, one, he's very talented. Two, you know, he would probably give you a little bit more content, right?
Absolutely.
But I'm not sure what that relationship is between him and one be on a video, right? And the reason I ask that is because there's a video, I mean, a channel that we watch, and it's called This Farm Wife. Okay. And the thing with This Farm Wife is not that she's the wife of a farmer, but what she does is she takes you through what she does as a farmer's wife, what she has to deal with, what things she runs into, how she has to help the farmer, how she has to deal with the kids. So it's basically here's what day in the life of a farmer's wife. So and so she's really opened up a lot of eyes about, because people think, well, the farmer does everything, the wife just stays home, knits and cooks. No, it's not. No, it's not that at all. But see, she opens up the eyes of a lot of folks to know that there's a lot of work that goes in being a wife, whether it's a farmer, a person from the military, a police officer, a fireman, whatever. There's a lot of things that go. And I was thinking, well, maybe Linda could do something like, this is the day in the life of a caregiver, you know, because a lot of people don't understand what you have to go through, or what's all entailed in being a caregiver. You know, so a video that would. But then again, like I said, your husband would have to be open to want to be in the
and that's
video.
A huge aspect to it. Is he is a very private guy, and he is actually on the channel. You can go back through and you can find him, but that's only when he feels good. And although we have talked about doing more of the lathe, so that might be coming in future episodes. But yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
And you don't have to really put his face in the video. You can show what you have to deal with on a you know, somewhat frequent basis. You know, because I mean, I'm sure you have a routine.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea, to be honest with you. Because I am, you know, whenever I actually go out and I share my story publicly. I give speeches and things from time to time. It's not all the time. I don't want to make that very clear. I'm not this huge. Like, I'm always but I do. We do share the stories, but I've never videoed it.
So think about this. You're going to have grandchildren soon. Not soon, but you're going to have grandchildren.
I have one.
I know, but you just married off another one. So you're going to have grandchildren, and someday they're going to look at this and say, oh, that's what grandma had to do. That's what she had to. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe. Because I wish I had a video of what my grandmother did right now. And she had a hard life living with my grandfather. And had I known, or I wish I could see what she had to go through. We have that opportunity now to share our lives with our descendants, with our grandchildren and stuff. So that's one thing I love about YouTube. They'll always be able to go in there and, unless they get rid of YouTube, they'll always be able to go in there and watch, what
Look for
Jesse,
videos
what
or
Jesse and
something, yeah.
Lisa were, what they were like and what we did and that kind of stuff. So in a sense, you could think about it as posterity for your grandchildren.
I think that's a really good idea. There are some things out there on us. There is a YouTube video on us out there, but it's not on my channel, but there is one out there. But I think the day in the life would be really good. Really, really good.
Yep.
I have to think about how I would run that one.
You've
given me food
there's
for
a lot of
thought.
ways to do
You've
it.
given me food for thought there, Jesse. I gotta think about this.
Because I was interested in, when you said you were a caregiver. This is way back. Well, what does she have to do? Does she have to, does she have to pick them up? Does she have to feed him?
Yeah, because there's different levels.
There's different levels.
A lot of different
does she have
levels.
to feed him? Does she have to bathe him? Does she have to take him to the store? What does she have to do? Is she driving a minivan or is she driving a big truck? What is she, that kind of stuff? Because caregiving is a job.
Well, and you said he has a service dog too.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, so I help with that as well. So I don't mind saying it here what I do for him. I think that just to kind of answer the question for now, but then I really have to think about this video.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
I'm going to say just a little bit. He has full. When you look at my husband, you wouldn't know that he suffers from a brain injury. You would think he's only legally blind because he can move around and do things, right? But I have to do a lot of memory prop things with him as well. And because he's also a combat veteran, I have to deal with that PTSD as well head on. And I call myself the Skittle giver because I've always given him medications.
Oh no.
Like, here's your Skittles.
Like that.
Yeah.
She gives me Skittles every day.
Get the Skittles. Get the Skittles. Skittles. And safety is a big factor as well. And then advocating for him at all of his medical. I can't take the camera into the medical appointments, but I do advocate for him. And I am the liaison when setting up appointments. They know that everything has to come through me. If it goes any bit of it through him, it's never going to happen. Because again, it's all up. He had the brain injury, so it's inside, but he can function and do things. And then, but he can't drive, and I have to supervise. Like if he wants to cook, I have to supervise the cooking. My house has come pretty close to catching on fire, so we have to turn it on. You know what I mean? So there are just kind of a general. I'll have to think about this video on that, but and you're right about the different levels of caregiving. I have several friends. One in particular, I'm thinking of. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he had a stroke, and all he can do is jarble, and he sits in a wheelchair. And she has to, if she wants to go anywhere, she has to send him to a nursing home if she's going to leave out of town. So there is that level as well. For me, I have another caregiver that comes in and assists if I want to go out and run errands. So I have that support as well. So there are just different levels, and just really depends on it. But if you saw him walking down the street, you would think he's just legally blind. I'm not going to lie. And people don't understand him and they get frustrated with him. And I'm like, no, you can't see everything, and you don't see all the falls and you don't see.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too, because this would be another interesting thing to put in your videos. If you can change things around in your house or not, or if you have to have them, that way he can memorize where everything is.
Yeah. So
what are your limitations? What are your limitations to what you can do in the home as far as moving furniture around?
Yeah.
Is he a creature? Does he have to? Because you said memory cards. Does he have to be told every day that no, we're gonna do this or we're gonna do that, or is he okay with? Anyway, I don't want to get into
No,
the
I
personal
think
part
these
of
are
it, but I'm
great.
just
No. I think this
you
is
know,
great because honestly, as one of the things I love about the foundation is that there has never, this is like a taboo subject. And I will sit back and say, just even from when my husband was on active duty, um, this whole thing was a taboo subject and nobody ever talked about it. So I don't want you feeling bad about asking these questions because I actually am welcoming,
Mhm.
bring it, it's how I feel. I mean, I'm not going to tell you everything on YouTube, but, you know, when, when he first was injured, even the military didn't understand him, and we really didn't understand things until later in life, as it's progressed, and
Right.
as we've had more research on this too. Research is a huge part of this deal. So and then the caregivers, we have sat so quietly, and I think that that's why I like Senator Elizabeth Dole so much. I love her as a person. She's an amazing woman. It's the late Bob Dole's wife
Right. Right.
who I'm
Mhm.
talking about.
Mhm.
She started this foundation to shed a light on the things that we do. And, she helped me get my voice. I never talked about it. There was no help in the story. And what she did was she commissioned the RAND Corporation with the partnership of the Lilly Endowment, which is a Hoosier nonprofit, which is kind of
Okay.
like right here because I love my Hoosier stuff. But anyhow, she commissioned the RAND Corporation to do a comprehensive study on us, and she since has done a couple more too. But the initial one, it really started to shed light on the things that we're lacking in, and also the financial piece, not being able. Some of us can't work. Some can work and still maintain that caregiver life, but then there are people who can't. They have to stay home to take care of their loved one. Then some caregivers work from home too, because you
Right.
can't
Mhm.
leave them, but you gotta still bring the income in. Um, and what happens with the church? Does the clergy understand? How can they support? How can the community support? So I really appreciate the foundation and opening that up. And now we're starting to, you're hearing more about it, the foundation, depending on where you're at. It's been 10 years since it was started. So, yeah, it's something I don't mind talking about. I'm not going to go in details on my husband on YouTube. I'm going to keep some of his stuff private as I
Right.
do when I go out and share my story. But yeah, it's interesting to see the different levels of care that
Mhm.
we all provide.
Right.
And it's a nice community. It's for me to be able to go in and you don't have to explain what it is. You just kind of go, "Hi, I'm here." But I also don't mind educating people too. And the service dog too. I have done a lot of educating with businesses lately.
But when you're with that community, the Dole, let's say the Dole Foundation community, if you're with that community, most of those folks are either dealing with it or have dealt with it or working with somebody who's dealing with what you're dealing with. So they pretty much know what to say, what not to say, what to ask, what not to. But the YouTube community doesn't know. For example, I'll be totally honest. I don't know what to ask about your husband because I don't know where the line is with with either his capabilities, his incapabilities, his
Yeah.
handicap, and you want to be respectful and you don't want to say something wrong or you want to ask the wrong question. But that's why it's good. I would think it would be good to let us know, hey, what are you dealing with? What are the things that most people ask? What are the
Yeah.
what do most people want to know about? And that way you clear the air. That way it's not because we're not around those foundation folks, so we don't know
No.
what they're talking about or dealing with. And
Yeah, and I don't mind answering questions too. I actually appreciate the questions because I know that if I wasn't thrust into this lifestyle, I would be equally as curious. So
right,
I see it from that perspective too. And even the service dog world, there are things that I have learned
Right.
just in owning the dog that I used to make mistakes on. And so I wish I could have had somebody to ask those questions to. So yeah, I mean, it's a mystery, I guess, maybe, but I think with us being able to speak up, and like I'm on YouTube, there's a really good podcaster. Her name is Patty Catter. She's not asking for the plug. I know Patty. She's a fellow EDF fellow, and she
Don't worry, I
does.
won't drop her link.
Oh, drop it, because I mean, we're talking like several 100,000 listeners. Like, she's a huge podcaster.
Okay.
But she shared a little bit about her life as well. That's not all that she talks about. She interviews a lot of different
Right.
people, but
But she's
yeah,
giving you a glimpse into what she
yeah,
has to deal with, right?
yeah, with her husband, and she is an inspiring person to me too. So I know she's probably too busy watching or doing her business, but I love you, Patty. You're watching.
You never know. She could be watching. Hey,
She's
Patty, how you doing, Patty? I'm Jesse. It's Lisa.
Yeah, and then that's Patty Catter, and she does Wake Up with Patty Catter is the name of her podcast.
Okay.
And so yeah, she's a doll baby in person too. So yeah, she's the class after me. She's a sweetheart. So yeah, I it was very hard to share our story at the beginning too. So I'm a little bit further down the road with this. So but I
Well,
just
knowledge is everything, but
Yeah.
you still, like I said, you still have to decide. What are you going to let people know?
yeah,
You just can't, because there's a certain, you have to save some things for the family. I mean, family, we don't need to know everybody's business, and you don't need to know all our business. You know what I'm saying?
no,
You have to
exactly. It
draw a
goes
line
both ways.
somewhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if you do know somebody who's in this role, the best thing is just to be an ear to listen and without judgment. That's what I tell people who don't understand the military and veteran caregiver community. Don't judge. I run into people who have said that they've been judged. Like, I wouldn't do it this way, or you shouldn't be giving them this, or this isn't right, and really at the end of the day, we just want just somebody to go, you're not alone. I'm here to listen. Just a
Right.
simple thing. And if they've got kids and they're running a million miles an hour, make a meal. You know what I mean? That
Right.
You want to talk about blessing, find out what their allergies are. It's a simple thing to support this community, and if you so choose. We're not asking a lot. We don't ever ask for help either. That's something that we don't do, and we don't run around and go, I'm a caregiver because it's cool. None of us want this life. None of us wish this life. I say it only because I want to be able to reach others and hopefully, be able to share, you're not alone, because I knew how I felt. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running around telling people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you do it to help others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's other people out there that are at the place where you were before.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a rough road, but I always say at the end of the day, I'm very blessed. He's actually here in the house, and he's alive and he's kicking, and that's the most important thing. And we get to keep going on in life.
Well, I can honestly say you do inspire us, because you have a heart of gold.
Mm-hmm.
I think you do more than what most people think or know about you. And the reason I say that, because I know that caregiving is a very, my grandmother needed care. So my mom's mother needed care. So I know how much work it is to care for someone. It's different when it's the person that's either you're related to, like you're married to, or son or daughter or whatever, as opposed to you go work for somebody and you're doing the caregiving for another family. It's different because it's part of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that other person.
No, it's so true.
It's different. So,
mm-hmm.
You, like I said, you inspire us, and we're. I mean, we just. I just can't believe how much work it is to do what you do. And I don't know that people understand that. I mean, they think that because, when I first saw you or met you, I thought you were just into canning and you were gardening and you had chickens and that stuff. I mean, I didn't know that you were a caregiver. I didn't even know that you had a husband that had an issue, a handicap. I didn't know that because you didn't speak about that very much. But once we found out, I think, wow, to do all that and to be a caregiver and to work, you got to work too because you got to put food on the table, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great inspiration to know that you have all that on your shoulders and you still have a smile on your face.
Yeah.
You're not saying, oh, woe was me, woe was, you're keeping the attitude of gratitude, right? And,
Absolutely. And that was a lot, I never was a positive, well, I was a positive person, but when this all came down, I wasn't. I went through a real dark phase in my life where it was very hard. But I attribute a lot of getting back to who I am with the Air Force Wounded Warrior Caregiver Program. They are the only branch that offers support to the caregivers um, post even retirement or separation. But you have to go through the warrior. It has to be a wounded warrior, right? It's not just any caregiver.
that's a military separation. It's not what you're thinking.
Right.
Okay.
No. So I'm still in touch with my husband's branch of service, and I went through their resiliency courses. And I have to really say that that's what got me back up on my feet. And then there was a class called Counting Your Blessings. And I still hold that class very near and dear to my heart. And basically, in a nutshell, it's about finding something small on those really rough days and say, this is what I'm blessed by, and I'm going to count that as my blessing. Like, it can be as simple as I got 5 minutes in the bathroom by myself to do some breathing exercises. I'm going to count that, and really just kind of holding on to those little things while those days are really rough. And eventually you're going to find more and you're going to find more. And it really helped me bring my joy back. Because I mean, when I say I went through a really dark phase and I shut in, I mean what I say. It gets very lonely at times, and then you don't know who to turn to, and then you're being attacked by so many different people,
Right.
and all you care about is your loved one, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, when I was going through this, I was raising kids. So my kids are all adults now, and I'm a grandmother, but it was very difficult while the kids were growing up and dealing with all this. So I really attribute getting who I am back to going through this resiliency course and being able to know who my people are, so I
Right.
can reach out and go, I'm struggling today, or I need a subject matter expert.
Yeah.
Who's my subject matter
Who you can
expert,
lean on.
for this situation? And being able to tap back into that resource still, because he's part of their Airmen for Life program through the Wounded Warriors, and we can always go back if we need help. And so that really has helped me, and I wish that other branches would carry that program, but they currently don't. At the timing of this filming, they don't. The Air Force is the only one that does it.
So let that be proof to you guys in the chat. If there's anybody in the chat that's going through anything like this, that Linda's a prime example of, you can make it, you can get through it. And
Absolutely.
there's resources out there, tons of resources, whether it be the Dole Foundation or Air Force or any of the other military branches. Reach out. I mean, that's the main thing. Reach out. If you don't reach out, then they can't help you.
No, they can't. They don't, because you don't know when you need that help. And I really like, if you're interested, hiddenheroes.org. It is the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, but they have the National Resource Directory there. So you just type in, what am I looking for? This is what I need. And I've been on a couple of retreats myself, and that's helped me connect. And that's with all the branches, you know what I mean? It's so in all eras. There are some nonprofits that will do all eras. So I don't, my husband is post 9/11. Well, he's pre and post, but they call him the post because whatever. But he's technically both. But there are a lot of nonprofits that are for all eras, and I want to make sure that I share that information, that it is all eras too. So even if you've been down this road for a while.
For the record, I'm pre.
I'm sorry.
For the record, I'm pre.
You're pre. Yes, you're pre. You're pre. So is my husband. See, he's got something in common with you. He's pre 9/11.
Yeah.
So is my father-in-law. So there's that.
Yeah. I was in the military in the 80s. So it's like long time ago.
Long time. Yeah. Well, my father-in-law was 70s and 80s, and then he retired in the 90s.
Okay.
So yeah. So he had a nice long career with the Army. So we like to tease back and forth which branch is better, And then I have an uncle that's a Marine.
Okay.
And I have a grandfather that was a sailor. And I have another grandfather that was a soldier. So, and then my Aunt Lynn of the Aunt Lynn show, she's a soldier.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So we have quite a few people.
A lot of
Oh, and I can't forget my stepdad. How could I forget my stepdad?
Oh no.
Dayz Gaming Cave. He has a channel too. He's a soul. I love you, Dayz.
I hope he forgives you.
I know. I hope he. Christmas is coming. I love you, Dayz. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. And I really enjoyed this chat. And I just want to say that if you ever want to come back on, the doors are always open.
Oh, thank you.
Out.
Well, we appreciate you inviting us. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a joy. We really,
fun.
Yeah, we really didn't expect it to be, as hard as it was, but we got through it. And I'm surprised I didn't have to phone a friend.
Goodness. I will have to make it a little bit easier next time, right?
Please do.
I'm gonna try. Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat, and make sure you give somebody a hug. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.